Hi friends, welcome to our channel Manifest with J.O.V.E, where we discuss all the things that relate to law of attraction and living your best life and just being your happiest, because everything starts within. So our goal is to help you feel your best so that you attract the best things in your life. So today's topic will be prayer. And even if you are not a religious person, I'm sure you are very familiar with prayer. And prayer is often misconstrued as something that's done by the religious people. However, I wanted to read to you a definition of prayer, because it often also relates to you connecting to your higher self. So what is prayer? Prayer is an invocation or act that seeks to activate a rapport with an object of worship through deliberate communication. In a narrow sense, in the terms, it's an act of supplication or intercession directed towards a deity or an ancestor. So today we'll discuss 3 different parts of prayer which are very important, and please watch till the end, because the third step of the prayers, which most people miss, and I used to miss myself a lot. So I will make sure that you follow the 3 steps, because that's going to help your prayers to be the most effective. So let's start with step number 1. Step number 1 is very important, and when you want to pray, you first have to put yourself in the right state, or like in the right mood. So I call it establishing the connection. And how do you establish a connection? You first have to find a space, perhaps space in your house, or maybe somewhere where you go for a walk or where it's peaceful. Find a space. If you're at home, what I like to do, I like to light a candle. I have a little altar at home where I have all of my, I grew up very religious, so of course I have, Jesus there and Mary and all of the saints that I believe in. But whatever religion you have, put your, favorite gods on your altar. Light a candle and try to quiet yourself first, and try to put yourself in a mode of connection where you can be present in a moment and when you can be open to listening as well. So once you establish the connection, or once you are in this quiet mode, the next step, or step 2, is to talk. So step 2 is when you talk to whatever your higher goddess or your higher self, or goddess, whatever it is that you pray for. Now you can talk. And the way you talk, and the way I like to do this, I like to first offer gratitude. I mean, that's part of establishing connection still, but it's just be grateful for whatever goodness is in your life, or sometimes even for the situations that maybe were not the best, but taught you something and made you a better human being. So gratitude is very important. And then the next thing in your talking to God or your higher self is you can use, a reciting prayer that you maybe learn in childhood. That's good. I like to do that because sometimes it's just kind of me putting it's like a mantra in your head, right? Whatever it is that allows you to talk without thinking so much. And then you can also have a free form of talking. So the free form of talking is, imagine that God, this goddess, or your higher self is like your best friend. And of course you do it in your head, I do it in my head, but of course you can talk out loud if you prefer to. And in this talking to God, just be as open and honest as possible. I think sometimes we are too much caught up in what we should say, what we shouldn't say, what will look like, but it's your own personal prayer, so just be as open and honest as possible. I think it's very important. I believe that my most effective prayers were when I was really the most honest and the most open, and sometimes really on my knees and just pouring out my heart and pouring out my soul, because that's how you establish the better conversation. And the third step, which is what I think a lot of us miss, including myself, sorry, my voice, maybe it means it's a sign I should not talk that much during my prayer. The third step in prayer is listen. And once you do your talking, then try to quiet yourself and try to listen to God, to your higher self, and just be open. Like, just try to like shut down your thoughts, and the communication will happen in different ways. Like for me, sometimes the thoughts that come to me that I know are not my thoughts, because that's not how I think, or just not what I would do. So there might be thoughts, it might be an inspired action, it might be something where you suddenly get an urge to do something, and those are the ways that I hear the communication. One very important thing that I want to mention is that sometimes when you pray, or during last step of prayer, when you wait for the communication to come back to you, when you try to listen, perhaps nothing will come to you that day, but don't get discouraged, because sometimes maybe you're not ready to hear what you need to hear, and sometimes you might hear the talk, the talk, or the way God talks back to you. It might be the next day, or the next week, or the next month, where suddenly you will have an urge to do something, or maybe you will have a thought, or maybe an inspired action. So just be open to it and listen, and make sure that your heart is pure, and just communicate and say, I am ready to listen. It doesn't mean you have to do anything, right? We have free will. God gave us free will. But at least be open to suggestions, at least be open to what God or the universe wants to tell you to do. And then you can make a decision on your own, of course, because that's where the free will comes in. So remember the 3 steps. 1, establish the connection. Very important. Quiet yourself. Candle, altar. Maybe it's you going for a walk. Maybe it's you being in some quiet space, away from everybody. 2 is you do the talking. And 3, you listen. So you listen what comes back to you, and you listen to what God or the universe or your higher self have to say to you. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you being here. If you would like more helpful tips, you can check out our channel, but please also comment below to see how, if you like that topic, and comment below and tell me what is your best way of communicating, because I think we can help each other. For me, like, if you can help each other with how we establish a connection, right? Like where do you find the spot where you feel the most connected to God, your higher self, or the universe, whatever it is that you believe in. If you like the tip, of course, please like and subscribe. Comment below as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon in my next video. In the meantime, have a blessed day and stay connected. Bye.